So my pug's an asshole. He's a
Yeah, so let's explain what happened, causing all the reason that we suddenly had to stop and restart.
yes. So basically, my pug wanted attention, and he was like, he started playing with my finger, and then that finger led to him yanking the microphone out, and like literally havoc ensued. It was absolutely pugtastic, is what.
He just wanted to get his shit in, and
It's a Mexican luchador, apparently.
yeah, apparently.
Just saying. But you were saying, so I mean, I guess Entreprecina had said that there was like this weirdness where the new some of your no DQ compatriots acted like holier than thou, essentially.
I I mean that I don't know, honestly. It might have happened. Rami might have happened before I joined with them. I know some people had opinions on him. I know some people had opinions on Andrew. Again, I don't know him personally, so I can't give any type of opinion with that or anything. But I'm not going to say they did. I'm not going to say they didn't because I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say on anything that I don't personally know firsthand. I just know that I was approached by people when I started getting in the industry saying, "Is like, you know, you should work more in this and get out of that," which, like I said, is kind of ironic because 15 years later, this is what everyone's doing now.
Yep. You were again, Josh, in many ways and many facets, you were ahead of your time. So most people are a legend in their own mind, but you are a legend of a time gone by, apparently.
I don't know. Don't use the word legend, please. But well, I
I
mean,
mean,
and this kind of goes back. Honestly, there's something that I've really kind of seen with, like Alex made a mention earlier, where he was kind of to call me humble. Um, I say I kind of go by, there's four things that I always say you have to stay. The four H's. You stay humble, you stay hungry, you stay healthy, and then with that you'll stay happy. So as long as you kind of maintain all that, because some of it's going to be physical, a lot of it's going to be mental. But you can't think that you're the greatest at anything, because there's always going to be someone better than you, and you could always learn from them. And so you want to stay humble with that. You want to stay hungry, because if you're just around, just waiting for an opportunity, the opportunity is never going to come. You got to work for it. Obviously, stay healthy, and that's both the physical and mental aspect for obvious reasons. And with that, if you have all those, then you should be staying happy. Because if for some reason you don't have all the H's, then maybe you should be looking into something else. Because maybe whatever it is, this is, and that's just not a wrestling thing, if you have all those in whatever your profession is, if you don't have them, then maybe you should look for something that will give that, because that will give you the most feeling of success. You follow those four H's.
I love that. That is a good
Quadruple. It's
parable.
it's not it's not Triple H. It's Quadruple H.
It's quadruple H. Yes,
Quadruple H.
I like that. Quadruple H always goes over if I'm booking the territory. My goodness, that's
There you
awesome.
go.
There you go. So, I mean, in terms of, because you obviously had that interaction with Sandman and then Christopher Daniels, right? So, I want to ask
Yeah.
you, in terms of like being a fan versus being in the business, like what are some of the subtle differences?
Oh man, it's tough, because even if you're in the business because you're a fan, but you don't want to mark out. You don't want to be it over top. And through my time at AfterBuzz, I had the opportunity of interviewing a who's who of the top guys and girls in WWE, and some of them are incredibly intimidating to be around. Others are just the nicest, friendliest people. Bray Wyatt is the nicest person on the planet. Uh, like, I had a blast anytime I interviewed Bray Wyatt, and I remember going in the first one thinking I was going to be terrified. And I did a media row at 6 a.m. So the wrestlers had to be there at 6 a.m. There was a lineup of interviews for WrestleMania week. We had to be there at 5 a.m. to be ready. Everyone's coming in. Everyone was nice, but you could tell everyone's kind of tired. It's Mania week. All right, here's another round of interviews. And Bray was like on cloud nine, just loving every moment of it. So it's so interesting, and it also kind of goes by the type of questions you ask, because you don't want to ask them like, "Who's your favorite opponent? What's your dream match? Like you don't want to ask the basic questions that they know anyone will ask. But you want to ask is like, oh, hey Bray, where's that Hawaiian shirt from? Just like just just something random and more so like an icebreaker. You want to make sure they're more relaxed with it, and especially if they're willing to joke around. Like I've had multiple interactions with New Day who have always joked around. At one point I interviewed them when they were at the moment tag champs, and I was just like, I'm here with the WWE tag team champions. Just like, no, you got to put the hips in it. You got to like sing, and they wanted me to like do their whole thing with it. Where then we eventually built it to the end of the interview where I did it. So like, and they played along because it started with me trying to do it, then making fun of me, then asking some other questions, trying to get into it, make fun of me, and then eventually build up like, all right, we got him to do it. He did it. So it's even though they're not in the ring, they're still kind of building up a story because they're trying to tell their story to whoever they interview or being interviewed by. And so that's one of those things where you want to make sure that you appreciate them, but you're not like, oh, it's him, it's her. Oh my god, who? It's like, okay, are you excited for this match? Like, no, they don't want to answer that question because they've answered that 1,000 times. You need to think outside the box to an extent.
No, absolutely. Which I mean, talk about like out of the box things, right? I mean, it's kind of not out of the box, but it's still kind of out of the box. But AfterBuzz, right? That's
Huh?
something that you were closely associated with, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome to see you and George Ramosa, Flobo Boys, and Leslie Colon and James Lott Jr. I mean, a litany of people that have essentially. There's a big kind of question mark with what's going on at AfterBuzz, but the fact that everybody in that kind of circle have essentially gone on and done their own things. The women's wrestling taught with TK
Hmm.
Trinidad
Absolutely.
and Sarah the Rebel and Emily May. So it's to me it's cool, and for me. It's really an honor to have all of you guys on because, like, when I was doing, MMA shows and wanting to get into wrestling, I would look at you guys and they're like, that's where like I kind of that's where I want to get to. So, I thank you guys because you guys are I am a product of essentially what you guys did at AfterBuzz.
Well, I mean that means a lot. Saying like that. There are things with AfterBuzz because I spent geez 7.5 years. I did over 600 episodes. I did more things for their wrestling as far as more content in their wrestling than anyone else. Um, and helped other people like kind of get to start learn what wrestling is, and then they ended up getting signed with various wrestling companies, um, and it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, at times, you might be frustrated with things because at the end of the day, they're different business things. But then it's just like, hearing what you say, getting different tweets from people all around the world, tweeting me or buying a Christian Rosenberg shirt. To me, it's just like, what the hell? Like, how is this possible? And I've gone thanks to AfterBuzz. I've gone into accomplish things and meet people that millions of people around the world would pay top dollar to get a chance to interview Bray Wyatt. Just since I just mentioned him, for example, to interview Paul Heyman, to interview Chris Jericho, to interview Roddy Piper, to interview all these people, and it's just like they gave me the platform to be able to do that. So just help build up my own professionalism as host, and then for the kid in me, without trying to overlay it, of course, would be like, oh my God, I'm sitting right next to Roddy Piper, and we're talking about how to cut a promo, and we're talking about being a bad guy, and he's sharing all these stories. This is so weird, and he let me wear his Hall of Fame ring, and just like all these things that like 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old Josh is just screaming off the rooftops. But 30-something-year-old Josh, when doing it, it's like, yes, this is an excellent point. Thank you. Yeah, I enjoy that. And But now that like things like that mean a lot, and I appreciate that because it makes me feel, makes me, and I know make I can in this case speak for the rest of the people that you named. And, makes us feel like all right, we inspired some people, we accomplished some things, and we hopefully did it with those four H's that I mentioned earlier.
No, and that's exactly what you guys did. Whether you guys knew it or not, whether that was the ethos, the quadruple H's were the ethos behind of what you guys were doing. You guys did do that, and I think it, especially that's why it kind of cements like what you guys are each individually and collectively doing now. That's what like of course you guys are, because you guys essentially to me I look at AfterBuzz for what you guys ended up doing, um and it's almost like the groundlings, right? And then
Sure, yeah.
what you guys are doing is essentially your own SNL. You guys are your own Lorne Michaels of your each individual destinies.
Hey, I'll take it. I mean, the Groundlings is obviously incredible improv school, which because I work when perform and travel doing improv, so saying things like that is always good. And obviously, Lauren Michaels, he's done a couple things. He's helped discover a few people over the time. So, I mean, I appreciate. I don't know if I would go that far in the comparison, but I appreciate you considering that comparison.
It's a apples to, I don't know, like tangerines, tangelos, something. I think avocado's a fruit, but even still, it's
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So I mean, obviously, you've had a litany of people, basically get behind you, basically trumpet the anthem of Josh Tariff. So what I want you to do is to get some acknowledgments and shout outs out of the way, my man.
Oh man, where do I start with that? Let's see. If if I'm going, back, I gave the No DQ guys a shout out at the beginning because, like I said, my wrestling career would not have started if I didn't, reach out and they weren't kind of to put me on their video show at that time. Um, Ken Wilson was the name of the first guy who ever booked me. Chris Kloss was the guy who gave me the name Christian Rosenberg. Um, Gary Yap, who some people love, some people hate, but I always loved Gary Yap because Gary was the very first guy out here who saw me as like, no, he's more than just like a ref. Like, no, he's got a mind for this. Like, I want to listen to his ideas and let him kind of create some stories. And he was the first guy to give me that opportunity. Um, Vic Luna was the guy who helped me really make my transition from being a ref to going back to commentary. John Ian is fundamental. I would not have ever had the confidence of doing AfterBuzz TV if it weren't for John Ian giving me the position of being the play-by-play guy for Mach 1 for 2 years and working every Friday night, for like 2 years as a commentator. Of course, Ryan Katz is the one who brought me into AfterBuzz because I told him, like, when I first found out about him, just like, I would be good at this. And he's like, you're right. I need to get you in here. And he was the one who kind of fought for me and got me my start there. Kevin Undergaro, was the one who backed me up, the guy who runs AfterBuzz. And so I'm definitely indebted to him. I'm indebted to everyone who bothered being was put up with me as a host when we ran, shows at AfterBuzz. Tom Connolly, Scott Narver, Christy Olsen, Gabby Loren, Corey Takei. I know I'm forgetting people, and I feel really bad. Jimbo, I can't believe Jimbo. My boy Jimbo is always supported me through everything, whether it's AfterBuzz or wrestling shows. And I know there are tons of people I'm forgetting. And if I'm forgetting, I'm sorry. Eric Watts, Stepdaddy, Christian Cole. Those are like three of my closest people in the wrestling business that are I'm very proud to call my friends. American Oni as well. Brian Kendrick for Wrestling Pro Wrestling. How do I forget Brian Kendrick and Derek and Brandon and their insanity for the gimmicks that they've given me that has their gimmicks that I feel like I'm doing nothing have made me more over than anything else that I've ever done. I mean, I truly have so much fun working with them that I've done for the last, 2.5 or so years. And, whenever things go back to normal, that will, go right back up. The powers that be at Alpha Omega Wrestling for giving me an opportunity to never want to share their identities. So I'll just say the powers that be there. because since I'm the owner, so shush. Um, I know I'm forgetting people, and I apologize. I'm forgetting people. Actually, your buddies with George Ramosi probably wants me to mention him too. So there you go, George. Hope you're happy. um, and I mean, and then as far as this is gonna sound cheesy, but and I always say like the biggest people who inspired me, who made me kind of become the person that I am, were my two grandfathers. So my grandfather I mentioned at the very beginning of all this, who's the one who got me into wrestling, and my other grandfather, my mom's father, he was a singer. So I got the love of wrestling from one, and I got the performer from the other. And so it's just like they kind of merged, and then you got this, got whatever this is, and so yeah, and but then in the midst of it all, like you're putting me over like crazy, talking about how I've done all these things, and in a way, yeah, I've done them. But again, you got to remember, you always have to stay humble, stay hungry, stay healthy, and that will make you stay happy. Uh,
1,000%, and I think you are the beautiful cataclysm of both of your grandfather's legacies, and they are looking proudly on you, good sir. So,
Thank you,
uh,
sir.
rest assured, rest assured. But for those who want to hear Josh talk, you see what
Yeah,
I did there?
I see what you did there.
Where can they find you, good sir, on
Well,
social media?
Well, first off, on Twitter and Instagram at Josh_Tariff, just like it shows on your screen. Spell it just like that, Tariff like the tax. YouTube.com/Josh Tariff. Season 1 of Josh Talks is up there where, over this COVID time, just like you, Adam, trying to find different ways to create and, create a show, getting like one-on-one interviews with various wrestlers or people that I've worked with or become friends with over the years. So I have different guests on there, such as Al Snow, TJP, Ricardo Rodriguez, um, Aaron Stevens, Ryan Nemeth, several others that I know I'm forgetting. Willie Mack is on there as well. And season 2 will be happening sometime next year, hopefully early next year, but I'm not going to guarantee anything. But I've already talked with a few people about possible interviews. And ProWrestlingTees.com/Christian Rosenberg. If you want to buy a Christian Rosenberg shirt or a Jeff Peanut Butter shirt or a Dennis Evil shirt, those are Brian Kenter creations, but he bestowed them upon me. And now apparently I'm really huge in the UK with Jeff Peanut Butter. That's his words, not mine. I don't know. And then finally, for the rest of the month, as I've shamelessly plugged throughout the show, Cameo. Hit me up on Cameo. You have an end of the year debate you want to settle with your friend. You want just a holiday message. You want me to say hi. For the rest of the month, my cameos are only $5. So a good deal. Because cheap thing. Everyone's need to save money over the holidays. It's been a hell of a year. So let's try to end with some positivity. And more importantly than everything that I just said, subscribe to A Corner in the Woods, because this guy's putting out way too much content. It's like an unhealthy amount of content that he's doing. It's oversaturated content to the fact that he has to find someone like me to fill some of this content. Uh, but but you can tell the dude interviews. The dude knows his stuff. He's got some great interviews with different people in wrestling and MMA and who knows what. Follow him. Follow According to the Woods, because according to him, it's a good show.
According to me, it is.
There you go.
I can't refute you anymore. But thank you, Josh, for taking time. That's an argument that I'm probably going to lose, so that's cool. But I go over either way, so that works. But I'm forgetting one of the H's, so fuck.
Humble, hungry, healthy, happy.
No, but that was like me putting myself over in your kind of assertion of me and your whatever. I forgot the first H because I became like a fucking. I became Ricky Starks, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm a fan of Ricky Starks. I'm a fan. I enjoy his work. There's so many people on AEW's work that I enjoy. We can save that for another time.
Yes,
but yeah,
we're doing this again. But Josh, thank you for joining us here at According to Woods, and thank you guys for joining us here. And like Josh so eloquently said, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe to According to Woods on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms. But just don't take our word for it. Here's Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to According to Woods